Hi boys and girls, my name is Ashley Gardner and I'm the Director of Children's Ministries at MLEPC. So glad that you were joining us today for Children's Church. We are now officially in my favorite time of the year. It is the Christmas season and I love everything about Christmas. I love the twinkle lights. I love stuff that sparkles. I love the jingle bells. I love Christmas carols. I love Christmas music. But the thing I love about Christmas most of all is getting ready to celebrate Jesus' birthday. Do you know the Christmas season has a very special thing that we call it? There's something in the church that instead of saying we're in the Christmas season, we say that we are in a different season. It begins with the letter A. Any guesses what season it is? It is the season of Advent. And Advent is the time when we are looking forward to the coming of Christ, the arrival of Jesus on his birthday, the celebration. And every week in the church, we celebrate a different thing about Advent. Every week, we light a different candle and we remember a different part of the Advent story. So last week was actually our first week of Advent. We're on week 2 this week, but I would love to take you through Advent. So the kids in the church and anyone watching us online, I would love to help you remember what we're really celebrating at Christmas. Last week, we actually did not do an Advent lesson. We did the lesson of Lazarus, and we're gonna hold off on those lessons for a little bit. We're gonna come back to the life of Jesus and what he did while he was on earth as we take some time to remember what we're really celebrating at Christmas. And for that, for our Advent lessons, I have a really special box that we're going to use. It looks like a treasure chest, I think. And I love that because I truly think at Christmas, our greatest treasure of all isn't what's under the tree. It isn't the big sparkly things or the cool presents. It is Jesus, and it's what we're truly celebrating. So that's what this treasure box is going to help us with. So I have some things in here that I'm gonna get out. I have this purple cloth. We're gonna lay this out. We're gonna smooth it out and get it all ready. Maybe you have some traditions that your family does at home. This is one that we used to do with our kids at Children's Church, and it was one of my favorite things that we would do with them. We would take them into our chapel, our really small kind of sanctuary, and we would do these lessons, and it was such a special time. So I'm glad I'm getting to do these again with you now. Then I'm gonna lay out this sparkly road that I have. During the season of Advent, we are all on a journey. We're all traveling somewhere. Do you guys know where it is? Where are we traveling to during Advent? What are we getting ready for? We're getting ready to go somewhere very, very special, to remember something that really happened 2,000 years ago, a little more than that. We're going to a special city. What's the name of the city we're traveling to? It is the city of Bethlehem. Now, to get to Bethlehem, who's gonna show us the way? Who's gonna show us how to get there? I don't know how to go. The prophets can show us how to get to Bethlehem. Now, prophets, I don't know if all of you know what the prophets or who they were. The prophets were people that delivered messages from God. And there were prophets hundreds of years, and some of them even longer than that, before Jesus' birth, were delivering messages about a Savior that was going to come. One of them was named Isaiah. And Isaiah talked about 700 years before Jesus was born. So 700 years, that's longer than America has been a country. It's a long, long, long time before Jesus was born. A prophet named Isaiah spoke messages from God about this baby that was going to come. He told in the book of Isaiah, that the people who have been walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those who dwell in the land of deep darkness, the light has shone. Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus was that light coming into the darkness. Not only did Isaiah talk about this light, he also talked about that God was going to come as a baby, that it was going to be a child, that there was going to be a son given, and that the government was going to be on his shoulders, that this son was going to be the gift of God to us. Not only did Isaiah talk about Jesus coming, Micah was another prophet that talked about Jesus, and he specifically talked about Jesus being born in Bethlehem. So far before Jesus was born, they actually knew the place that he was going to be born. And that's why when the wise men came to Jerusalem originally, they pulled out this prophecy, this prophet who had given the message from God. When the wise men were looking and saying, "Where is this baby?" they were able to tell the wise men to go to Bethlehem because the prophets told about it so long before that. So the prophets are showing us the way to get to Jesus. So we're going to put our prophets on the road to Bethlehem. And I also have our card here that is going to show us our Advent wreath. Many of you might do this at home, an Advent wreath and a candle, and then the candle of the prophets. And we're going to take this candle. Every week of Advent, we're going to light our candle. And then we are going to, at the end, put it out. So this is last week's, the candle of the prophets. Now this week, we have somebody else that's showing us the way to Bethlehem. I'm going to show you who they are and see if you can guess. This is the Holy Family. And the Holy Family is also on their way to journey to see the baby. Mary is actually carrying the baby. It's in her belly. And before, she was visited by an angel. The angel Gabriel came to Mary and told her that she was going to have a baby. Even though she wasn't married yet, even though she wasn't pregnant, the angel told her that she was going to have a baby and it was going to be from God, and this baby was going to be the Messiah. It was going to be Emmanuel, which means God with us. This was also prophesied. It was told by God hundreds of years before it happened that that exact thing was going to happen, that a woman who wasn't married and wasn't pregnant at all was going to become pregnant by God, and that this baby was going to be the Savior, was going to be God with us. So the Holy Family is on their way to Bethlehem to have and worship this newborn King. Mary could have been terrified when she heard this news. It was a lot. She was really young when she found out. She was probably a teenager, maybe even 13 years old, right around there. And she had a lot she could have been really scared about. But the angel told her not to be afraid. God still tells us that today. He tells us not to fear. There's a lot around us that we could be scared of. There's a lot of stuff going on that could cause us to be terrified. But God still says today not to fear, to not be afraid, to trust in Him. And it's because of that little baby that's coming. It's because of Jesus that we know that we can trust in Him, that we can be saved through that child. So we're going to today, I have our Advent card. So the Holy Family, and it's week 2, and we are going to light the candle of the Holy Family. This is going to remind us that we don't need to be afraid. So remember, as you're going through the week this week, remember that we are on a journey right now. This isn't just Christmas. This isn't just getting ready for Santa Claus to come. This is awaiting the birth of the newborn King, Jesus, King over all. We are on the road to Bethlehem, and we are so excited to meet him. I hope this week you remember that you're on a journey. Think through the ways that God is calling you not to be afraid right now, just like he told Mary not to be afraid. Whenever you might be feeling scared, I want you to think about the angel telling Mary not to be afraid, and that we have a God that is in control, and we have a newborn baby that we're celebrating that is the light that came into the darkness, the light that is brighter than any darkness. Jesus is King over all and the light of the world and our Savior. I hope you guys liked this. I am so excited to share with you the rest of the things in my treasure box, and I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the second week of Advent. Have a great day. God bless.